humanization of the world. והמסר, הייתי אומרת, שמה שאי אפשר אפשר, זאת אומרת, מסר של תקווה ושיש עתיד. אני לא מדברת על המפלגה כמובן. זאת אומרת, אחרי שעם ישראל אהב כל כך הרבה, אחרי השואה, אחרי כל זה, קמים ויש חיים. זאת אומרת שבשביל כל אדם יש תקווה ויש חלומות כמו הרצל אמר שיכול להתקיים. וזה התפקיד שלנו לעשות את זה. כן, ובסוף, סוף, זה מאוד מעניין, כי ראיתי את כל התהליך הזה כסטרוקטורה של העמידה. אנחנו מתחילים לעבוד, זאת אומרת, להיות קשור עם שם, ואנחנו בסוף זה שלום. ובדרך יש כל מיני דברים, ופתאום ראיתי את העמידה כמו סוג של תשובה של כל השלבים האלה. וואו.
יופי.
טוב, היה לי קשה להיכנס לזה, אני באתי מאיזה לילה מאוד הזוי בבית חולים עם מישהו, אבל היו כמה דברים שבכל זאת עלו, והדבר שעלה מאוד חזק זה להיות מחוברים ללוח השנה העברי, עם האנרגיות המיוחדות שיש בכל יום, אנחנו בספירת האור ואנחנו ביום השואה, כאילו, להיות מחוברים לדבר הזה, להיות במודעות על האנרגיה הזאת, זה ממש היה לי חזק. והדבר השני שהגיע חזק מאוד זה הנושא של לתת ידע לעולם, אם זה בחקלאות, אם זה בחינוך, בכל הנושאים האלה, להעביר את הידע הזה, לא לשמור אותו. ועוד מילה אחת שיצאה כל הזמן, זה הנושא של לקדם דמוקרטיה, ערכים של דמוקרטיה.
I wasn't here for a couple of hours, so I tried to do it briefly, so I managed to find some stuff. So for the essence, what I saw is like a model house, model home. When you come to see it, it's a model home when you accept everyone in it. And even though it has lots of furniture inside it, it's all combined in I don't know if a feng shui way or in some way that you enter to the house and there is a serenity and the house is welcoming. So that's the essence. And the second one is the blessing, which is part of it is סובלנות וקבלת האחר, tolerance and accepting the others in order to accept yourself, which is part of it. The mission is, after fulfilling the essence, is to export this revolution or this model into the world. And the message is, there's no problem that can't be solved. The problem is how to solve it, but there's no problem that can't be solved.
For me it was really surprising, first because usually I hear voices and now this time I saw images. I have no explanation to why that happened. My guide was Moses and I tried to say, no, I don't want to speak to you, but he still.
He's used to being rejected.
And when asked what's the essence of Israel, I saw a little girl. And it's like, it didn't use the word beloved, but it said the most close to me. I don't know, but it was a little girl. Wow. And our blessing is to always connect to a higher level of seeing things. The message was that the spirit comes before any materialistic things. And I said, do you have any advice or help? And he said, less words, more huggings, and water. I don't know yet what does it mean, but it surprised me and I even argued. But it was, for me, it was something really unique because I always trust words and books and lectures and saying, but the message was very clear, less words, and try to connect to something that is more basic. Less, to me, it was not about science or high tech, or it was the opposite. It was go back to basic.
Well, I can see it on an individual level, right? Drink water, hug more, talk less. And on a national level, probably help too.
That's what came.
Why not take a shower? Take a shower? Yeah.
Go to
Is that
sleep.
feedback or advice? Okay. Debbie.
Okay, I'll start in English and then I'll move to Hebrew. The essence is to illuminate the world with love, giving, and forgiveness. The blessing is to, I'll say it in Hebrew, להוביל את העולם לתודעה גבוהה של מנהיגות, ידע גבוה, של חדשנות, חיבור רוח וחומר, של תודעה ופרקטיות, היגיון ורגש. אנחנו קו האמצע שמחבר בין קצוות, יוצר סינרגיה ומוביל דרך בתפיסה חדשה. The mission is to be a model society, living ואהבת לרעך כמוך, love your friend as yourself. But I'll say to the group what I said yesterday, זה מסר חוזר. זה ראה לי גם בקבוצה אתמול, ובעברית, בשבילי ואהבת לרעך כמוך, זה לא ואהבת את רעך כמוך, זה ואהבת לרעך כמוך. ותמיד שאלתי את עצמי למה. אז מסתבר שהאות העברית למד היא האות היחידה שעולה למעלה, היא מחוברת בעצם לאור.
היא גם אמצעית.
נכון, ולכן בעצם זה המקום להוריד את החלק הגבוה, את האור,
ולראות את הקו זכות בכל אחד גם.
ורגע, ולכן זה מסר שהיה מאוד חזק, גם אתמול וחזר גם היום. והיו לי הרבה מסרים, לא על messages. אז ככה, אחד מהם זה היה לאחד בין הייחודיות לבין האחדות, oneness and uniqueness, כזה התבלבל, לחיות את הגדולה שלנו בצניעות. The global or the universe change מתחיל בנו, start with us. This is the time to forgive, and if we can, the others can, because this is the טבורו של עולם, והוא מראה של כולם. Those are the messages.
That's all? Okay. Thank you.
I was directed to our national anthem, Tikva, which means hope, and that's going to be the purpose, to bring hope to humankind, to this universe. And so the mission was, the essence, if I take it, and I found it in the national anthem, is להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, to be free in our homeland. And the blessing is קולות בלבב בין עם הנפש יהודי הומייה, try to find a translation. Can you do it for me? With eyes turned, as long as the Jewish spirit is yearning deep in the heart. So that's the blessing. And the mission has been said by others, and I think it's the prophecies of the prophets and values of Tikkun Olam, of repairing this world that we are part of. And if there is a message, it's also written in the national anthem, עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, we should never lose.
היא בת שנות 2000, אנחנו ב-2016.
תלוי באיזה ספירה.
העברית, לא? נכון. טוב.
תודה.
הכל קיים. אני בוחרת בזה.
So I found myself in raw desert setting. and there was a plane. It is a place that I actually know, one of my favorite places in Israel. 360, there's no sign of modern civilization. And it is on the edge, not scary on the edge, just amazing on the edge of a cliff where you can see hundreds of thousands of years back in geology. And there was a fireside chat of fire-fueled minds. It was like, the entity was like lit sort of figure. And I'll start with advice and go back. So the advice was, use the last few centuries' insights as tools, but rise above that complexity for the answers. And that Israel is a hub for cross-pollination, and a place for exploration, and this is the main part, rapid acceptance and application of the paradigm shifts in our understanding of the world, the workings of the world, big and small. It's like we're caught in this very thin layer of reality that we can understand, but we're gaining great understanding to the very small workings and very big workings and
Everything.
something like that.
Thank you.
I'll start with my brother, Ophir. הוא כתב he just had to leave. The essence is מקור האור, שלנו, מקור האור, essence of light. הבלסינג שלו היה למלות מחדש, להתמלא מחדש, והמישן שלו היה יותר חיבור. messages, אנחנו חלק מהאחד, לא להתייאש, צעד אחר צעד. מה שאני קיבלתי זה essence, freedom, חופש. A blessing, the free/heal the world from war to peace, from separation to unity. שחרר ולרפא את העולם ממלחמות לשלום, מבידוד לאחדות. המישן היה unite the world, we're all one. לאחד את העולם, כולנו אחד. messages, we're all one God, time for forgiveness. Peace is the loving way. And love and light is what our soul seeks for, and there is a new way. Advice, wait, be patient. It will reveal itself. That's it.
Okay. Essence, great flowering light. Blessing, to make others flower.
Make others what?
Flower. Mission, learn peace and demonstrate peace. And the message was, the message was, peace is a reality. And I also got some extra stuff.
Bonus material.
Yeah, regarding how to do the work. The energy must be held continuously by a small group, 3 people, who keep it always in their consciousness and hold a continuous frequency, uninterrupted frequency.
Volunteer? Thank you.
אוקיי, המהות, אור זוהר של אהבה. ברכה זה קבלת האחר, השלמה, יכולת זרימה עם ניגודים באהבה ויכולת השפעה בעולם. השליחות זה להביא לתודעה של חיבור של שפע ולהפיץ ולהביא שלום ושגשוג לעולם. המסר הוא מסר שמתאים לעולם שבו אנחנו נמצאים, זה שלום ושגשוג הם תאומים סיאמיים. בשלום אפשר להגיע לשגשוג עולמי הרבה יותר גדול. זה שמדברים עם העולם הקיים, זה אולי די ברור לעולם הכלכלי ולכל העולמות האחרים. תודה.
Essence, Israel is a global center of influence and change and transformation. Blessing is the ability to understand the complexity of human society. So it's like a laboratory and a hub together, very concentrated, and understanding many complexity and diversity, deep, true understanding. Mission is to show that we can create transformation even in the most extreme situations, and it's also about reframing humanity, defining again for the future humanity with creating collaboration within diversity. This is another part of the mission, creating collaboration within diversity. And the message is that in some way we have probably the answer, the key. We should find it and then we can show the way, maybe.
Thank you.
I can.
מהות, קיבלתי תיקון עולם ותיקון לעולם, סמל למימוש של הגשמה, שלום ואהבה. תיקון עולם ותיקון לעולם, ואז סמל למימוש, להגשמה, לשלום ולאהבה. הברכה, לעזור לעולם לתקן את עצמו, להביא בשורה של חיבור, הגשמה, אהבה ומימוש בעולם. אז הגיעו כל מיני גרסאות של זה, להביא לעולם אנרגיות חדשות של חיבור והרמוניה. ואחר כך הגיעה לי, הברכה של ישראל היא תיקון האדם ותיקון העולם, מתוך חיבור לעצמו, הרמוניה ואהבה. זו הברכה. שליחות, קיבלתי עולם מתוקן והרמוני, עולם שבו אנשים פועלים בהרמוניה ובאהבה ביניהם, בינם לבין עצמם, לאחרים ולכדור שאתם נמצאים עליו. והמסר זה שהכל אפשרי עבור בני האדם, שיש תקווה ושיש אנרגיה באנשים לעשות את מה שנדרש על מנת ליצור כאן עולם מתוקן, מחובר, הרמוני ובריא. בואו נראות פעם המסר לעולם, המסר של ישראל לעולם זה שיש תקווה.
Finishing up with the same words, but in different. I got the hope and the inspiration as the essence. This is the essence. Hope and inspiration, also the tikva. Blessing was repeatedly showing that it is possible. It is maybe different thing, maybe
This is possible, that's possible.
yeah.
And showing that things are possible.
Yeah, things are possible. It was, of course, in terms of union, but in terms of everything. It's possible to go to Uganda. It's possible to build a state. It is possible. I'll skip a mission and jump 1 second to message. One was unity in diversity. So keeping the identity, but unify the room with the furniture and all that. And a demo plant showing that under extreme conditions this can work. and the word correction under message.
Correction? How do you mean correction?
Tikkun.
Repair.
Okay. And in mission, I didn't get the mission. And I was pondering on why I'm not getting a mission. And maybe it's the thinking mind, but maybe not. It was like, do your thing. I mean, it was in the sense that but biblically, we are like the chosen people, we are the light of the older world. And it was like too much of ego. So forget about your mission.
Don't worry about the mission, just relax.
Do those stuff, the mission will take care of itself kind of thing. So and I continued, pondered upon it, and the end of it was, you know what? Make it a better place. That's it. Don't beyond that. Don't create world peace or anything like that. Just make it bring a contribution from your side to the world.
Good.
So that's it.
Okay. The essence was Adama, earth, material, which means that Israel is the material, it's giving the support material to everything to accept. For me it was astonished because I thought it would be something else, but it was really down the matter, and we have to respect the matter in all the forms. First in ourselves, our earth, the earth of the ground, the nature, etc. The blessing of Israel is to have an energy that unifies and permitting, enable transformation. The mission, it's to diffuse this. It's like you have a energetic field. This is the message that is disseminated in the energetic field. The message is to say yes to life. של החבר שלי בו. הוא בא לי בו.
הוא היה איתך
בלשם. And I asked how to do it, so he said, it was said that to take the example of the body, the human body. You have different parts, all the parts are okay, even the sick parts. You need to include all the parts. This is the holistic point of view. The parts that we love and that we don't love. There is an hierarchy inside, but all the parts are important. So to take the model of the body.
The tip, I didn't mention.
So you got a suggestion? Yeah.
Just the tip was just that the very dealing with this question, simply putting up the question to the air is even more than enough. This is like the message that this kind of thing just makes people to create a talk about. Again, what is the purpose? Because this is not like you go to a saloon, it's not something that people talk about. Just to create a talk about it, it's like it's working by itself.
Yeah. Good. I like that. Good. 2 more to go. Yes, sir?
When I said earlier, why I came and said, because I believe in the process. So indulge me in some thinking about process here. And you'll see in a second why that's relevant. Because I was interested in following my own process and also following, well, I'm marveled by the group process, but that's not the point, but the process of how we did the meditation. So I just want to share something, a quick preliminary question that'll set the stage. I want to say, who here was aided? Who here was aided by the music during the process here? Who here was disturbed by the music? Okay, so I just want to say, I was so disturbed by the music that I almost got up and left because I was feeling like in a prison. I couldn't take this. It's getting in the way. I need silence. What is this horrible music? Get me out of here. I was sitting there. I tried to catch his eye to say, make it lower. And I said, it's too late. You're in the middle. You can't interrupt anymore. I thought, get up and make it quiet yourself. I said, no, you're not the boss here. I went through this whole process. I was just so, I still am tight because of the music that I felt was so oppressive for me. Now you know something about me. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I went through 2 processes. And it's very interesting for me to share with everyone
the differences and the remarkable similarities with what I got under both processes. The first one, as soon as we sat down to the 4 things, I got answers. I put them down, and then totally forgot about them. Then I was this ultra tense state. Get me out of here already. And the answers were the same, but in slightly altered fashion. And it's quite possible that the answers that came the second time around are even better than the first one, which means that basically all you need is bad music to get some good inspiration.
Visceral tension. It's almost impossible to bear.
So I don't know what it is, and I'm just going to share the answers with you. It's the same thing, but couched in slightly different language. And I was amazed when I went back. When we came down, I looked and said, so what was the same? I said, whoa. So the first answer I had, sort of just as I sat down, essence was manifesting the divine. During the exercise, that horrible exercise, the answer was, we are divine light. Okay, so the difference is it's moved from abstraction to the terminology of light. And light came up as repeatedly here. So it was manifesting the divine answer 1, divine light answer 2. Blessing. So version 1, drawing the world to the divine. Version 2 was to reveal the unity of all. Yeah, I think, because I got my 2 and 3 crossed, so I think I'm getting it right. So the blessing was drawing the world to the divine, and the second version was revealing the unity of all. And it's an interesting question, which of those
Could both be blessings, could both be missions, depending on.
Then concerning, what was the third thing we need to do? The mission, right? So the first, no, I got it backwards. Blessing. So I got it backwards. I knew I got it. The first set of blessing was teaching and connecting everything to the will of God. That was the blessing. And the second blessing was revealing unity of all. And then in terms of mission,
say that again.
With pleasure.
Did you say no? It wasn't. I need to cut.
No, you say that.
I'm sorry. I knew I got it backwards. So
Teaching and
first blessing.
Do you need some music now?
Teaching, connecting to the will of God. Version 1. Version 2, revealing the
unity of all.
Revealing unity of all. Okay, and then blessing was. That was blessing. And then mission was, version 1, drawing the world to the divine. Version 2,
Carrie just have it.
I got it all wrong again.
The reveal the world to the divine is mission.
No, but the reveal the unity of all was the mission in the previous version.
Okay.
And the blessing in the previous version was revealing the divine light in all. In other words, we are divine light. Our blessing is to reveal divine light in others, in the world. And the mission was revealing the unity of all. Did I get that straightened out? Sorry,
Yes.
forgive me for getting it confused. And the message, version 1, we are all one in God. And the second version was, we are all one in divine light. So really identical. So I don't know, you'll tell me now if hypertension is good for getting messages or
We
not.
can run further experiments with you.
Now, the most interesting part for me was the extra bit of advice, and that was totally unexpected. It was plain and simple. Engage religious politicians. Now, you like that?
Yeah.
Now, that was...
Tell me when and where.
I was debating, I said, you mean politicians? No, you mean religious leaders? No, religious politicians. It was pretty clear, engage religious politicians. I said, okay, this is what it is, I'm the last person to deal with religious politicians. But if this is the message, I could see why it would work. And frankly, having sat here and seen this, I could see a strategy, namely, if you create a document and they resonate with these content sets, and they will resonate, because there's nothing here that a religiously trained person would not, it'll force them, or it's enough we get 1 or 2 of them to get on board with this thing, and they can be, in their own way, instruments of change, unless someone thinks that we should engage Hasidic rabbis, but then they need to get that message directly.
Sure. When and where. Excellent, thank you. 2 more.
מהות, משיכת אור ישר מן המקור.
עוד פעם, לא שמעתי. משיכת?
משיכת אור ישר מן המקור, זה בעצם טמון בשם גם. יש לכם את זה ב-DNA כדי לממש את היכולת שלכם, שתמונה בכם עליכם להיות במצב של שלווה פנימית. הברכה זה יכולת החיבור לתדר המאזן והמחבר.
אני לא שם מספיק ברור לתרגם.
ברכה, יכולת החיבור לתדר המאזן והמחבר, וכן הקשור באופן בלתי מותנה לכפייה. השליחות, שליחותכם תמונה ביכולת שלכם להתחבר לעצמכם בצורה נקייה בשלושת הרמות, הנשמתית, המנטלית והפיזית. עליכם להיות מסונכרנים עם עצמכם, ועל ידי כך להפיץ את התדר מהגבוה עד לנמוך ולהזרימם בצורה נקייה. המסר על ידי הנ"ל, המסר והתדר יועברו בעצם ללא פעולה ישירה בהכרח.
ללא פעולה ישירה?
בהכרח. זוהי משימה פועמת שאיננה סטטית וקשורה לצ'קרות הדינמיות של החשב.
Got it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Essence, Olagoy. Olagoy? Blessing lead the way.
Leading?
Lead the way. Mission. Transcend fear and grow humanity to the next level. And message, everything that matters is on the other side of fear and conflict.
מה היה האחרון?
Everything that, כל מה שמעבר למאבק יש חיים טובים, כל מה שחשוב נמצא מעבר למאבק.
Do you have a sense of humor, those trust and stories? Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you. Have a lovely trip. Oh, no, you're going just across the room. Okay. Cool. That sounded like some pretty high-octane stuff to me. What was your sense?
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice the strong similarities, in some cases even identical language? Same thing happened yesterday, that people getting entire sentences that matched precisely in the message information in particular. It was really fascinating. Good. So, the idea was getting this on this laptop so that we could project it and get it on the screen so we can play with it. See if we can focus in on particular pieces of it.
Okay.
So we've been going about an hour. You guys good for a few more minutes before a break?
Yes.
Hang in a little longer? Good?
Tim, could I add one last thing?
Sure.
So I had it written down, but I didn't say it. But after
Oh, that's the stuff that's really interesting. Yeah,
but
I want to hear
after
when
he
you weren't willing to
shared
say
a
it.
religious politician, I said I might as well say anything.
Okay.
Okay, because I had criticism about it. I said like a divine entity wouldn't advocate drugs.
Oh, okay.
But it was just a way to say something. Like, so we talked about the state of consciousness, the different state of consciousness in experimenting with mushrooms and MDMA.
Yeah.
To the point that the change can be like that, and it is within us. It's just an
So with proper use of drugs, the transformation
altering.
can be
So I'm not saying let's give drugs to everyone. I'm just saying the state of consciousness where the solution is within us. And joining what you said, living in this reality, it says, but take it from a new age conversation to a practical business case, not necessarily a business as in a corporate business, but to
Make a real case
like this is
for
the playground, build a case with this rules.
Great. No, thank you. So that was instructions.
I put that in.
Good. Excellent.
But I probably mixed a lot of them, so the thing is, how are you going to deal with this?
He's going to deal with it.
There's two languages going on.
No, that's fine. As it should be.
Be careful.
That's why we had to do it. Type quickly and vote. So let's discuss the process that's going to happen here. We have a lot of high quantity of information, but if you notice, there's particular standout pieces that show up over and over and over again. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're going to zero in on, is the themes and patterns that show up here. So there's two things I want to focus on. That's one, themes and patterns. Anything that occurs over and over and over again is worthy of note and should make it to the next level of the process, right? It passes through to the next stage. Sort of like in the World Cup or something, where the teams are playing and the team goes on to the next level, right? So we're moving these statements on to the next level. The other, thank you. The other thing we want to watch for is individual statements that carry a lot of power. And by power, I mean when you read them, you feel yourself going like, woof, huh? It has a physical or emotional impact on you. Now, interestingly, it doesn't matter whether that's a positive or negative impact. As long as it has a really strong impact, that's also worthy of paying attention to. Okay? So that's what we're looking for. And what we want to do is fairly quickly go through this stuff. Can we change that from, is someone willing to be the, you'll do it? Okay. The first thing we need to do is change our bullets to numbers. Because otherwise it's going to be hard to call out individual statements. It'll be easier if we can call it out by number. So, do you need some, maybe we could have someone else?
Control A.
Now we're talking. Too far. Up. There we go. Let's just worry about essence for now. I'll have to mess with those. Great. Back up to the top. Okay. Perfect. So here's what I'd like you to do. If everyone would just take a moment and read these first 12. This keeps showing 11. Are there 12? No, it's not showing any.
That's a blessing.
Beautiful. Okay, verse 13, lucky 13. So read these 13 statements. And then what we're going to be looking for is two things after we get through all 25 of them. We're going to scroll down and read the other 12 in a moment. Is what we're looking for is ones that repeat over and over, and whichever the clearest example of that is. And the other is any ones that don't repeat but are really, really strong. Okay? So take a moment and read.
You're a bit in the way.
Yeah, you need.
Can you repeat this?
I'm not transparent, is that what you're saying?
13, I
Not
was
transparent enough.
The German saying, was your father a glass blower?
Can you repeat it? What do you really ask?
Yeah, you're reading that looking for two things. One, statements that repeat, and two, statements that don't repeat but have a strong emotional impact on you, or a strong physical impact on you. Okay? And when you've read all 13, sort of wave your hand at me so I can get an idea of how many are finished and who we're waiting on. Great.
Yeah.
Anyone still reading?
No.
Okay. Yossi, if you'd page down to the next dozen. Perfect. So again, just make some little motion with your hand to me when you've read the last 12. So I can see when we're mostly done. Anybody still reading?
Yes.
Okay. It could be worded this way. It's a bit of a mission. Anybody not done yet? Okay, good. So what I'd like you to do now, and we can scroll back up or down as you need to, is nominate either standalone ones that are really strong, or if you see repeating patterns, which there certainly are, see if you can pick out which one you think is a really good example of that pattern. Anyone who wants to nominate one, go right ahead.
מקור האור.
Light.
The essence of light. מקור האור.
So the essence of light is a very strong repeating pattern for sure. Different types of light, but it comes up over and over and over again.
And Or Lagoim is again coming back twice or three times.
Good. So if underneath,
But I would like to add, Or Lagoim, it means light to the non-Jewish.
Yes, yes, it
So I would
does.
say first Or to the Jewish, then to the non-Jewish.
Hang
For
on,
me,
we're-
it's
I
it's very
understand.
pretentious.
As a goy, let me give you guys permission to shine light to us goyim out there, okay? This is what's showing up. Let's just stick with what's
That's
here.
not essence.
But
That's
not
already-
only to
that's-
the
Light? Sure it is.
No, but Or Lagoim is not essence. That's already emission.
No, if I can just shine light, if the technical definition
First I will shine, then I will spread it.
good. If I can just shine, if I don't have to move to do it,
Exactly.
it can be an essence. If I can hold still and do it, it qualifies as essence. So illuminate, shine, radiate are all acceptable essence verbs in the true purpose process. Yeah.
Source of light and love. Love is also.
Good. Good. Excellent. So that's another pattern. So if we could go underneath 25, Yossi, and write source of light and source of love in Hebrew.
I see several appeals to the divine, explicitly and implicitly.
Yeah, absolutely.
או קדושה או אלוהות.
Source.
מקור האור ומקור האהבה.
Very good. Source of light, source of love, the divine, light to the goyim.
And
Right?
to the Jewish. You know, the sun.
He's got the keyboard,
the sun
man.
is
He's
enlightening-
got the keyboard. Who's going to stop him?
No,
You can.
The sun is enlightening everybody. He's
Absolutely.
not selected.
Sure.
In this selection, I feel not good.
You know what? I'm totally fine with what you're saying, and I'm just copying
למרות
the.
שאור חייב להגיד בשביל
Live the light
זה
and
לאור
love.
אחד.
The goyim in the Jewish people.
זה הפך לקלישאתי קצת.
יוסי אלוהות.
I love how uncomfortable it makes you guys. It's great. Strong reaction.
One thing that I love one particular thing here,
Divine.
which I love because of my interpretation of it. So it's, you know what Sigal was saying about the little girl.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Good. So that's a really good example of a singular standout one that had an impact. It had a big impact on you when
Now,
she
it
said
had
that.
that because for me, that little girl is the Shekhinah, and therefore it's part of the divine presence, and it
Yeah.
takes that manifestation. Now, I don't know what it means to Sigal. It's likely, since she's a little bit of a Kabbalist, that it means the same thing to her. So, whatever the case may be, I just wanted to note that as a standalone that struck me.
Great. So image of a little girl is a standalone that struck you that belongs on the short list. Good. Anyone else want to nominate one to get promoted to round 2 here in our little World Cup?
המילה שכינה אולי, יש אלוהות, אבל אם כל אחד של הסטלטור הזאת, אז שכינה זה...
זה לא היה כאן.
לא, זה יש את הדיוויין.
לא, אבל באנגלית יש את המילה דיוויין.
יש פה את הדיוויין.
זה עם קו ובלי קו.
גם אני גם חושבת כמובן, אני גם חושבת שזה פחות אלוהות, זה יותר אולי שכינה, משהו גם יותר רך, יותר...
נשי.
מתרגמת אחרת, divine.
תשאלו אותו.
The word divine every time I read the translation of it.
Keeps coming up.
Yeah.
So what do we have written here so far?
It's captured through the
Source of light and love and divinity.
Beautiful. Put down the little girl, image of a little girl.
I think it's better not, now when you are talking about little girls.
But I'm not sure that image of the little girl is for only one time. I'm not.
It doesn't matter. If it has a strong enough emotional impact on one person, it can go on the short list for now.
You can put another time 24 points if I know.
Do you feel strongly impacted by all of them? Then if not, it's a hypothetical and we don't need to worry about
how
it.
many people here were strongly impacted by that.
We'll deal with that in round 2. This is just the football teams going from 1 to 2.
Because of the methodology, if only one person was really stuck with one image, you put that inside. So
at this stage,
now we
yes.
have to go around and say what was the most important for you, and we can get another 25 points. No.
We could, but we're not going
It's
to.
a question. I have no.
No, it's at this stage. If anyone had a reaction to it, we move it to the second round.
Okay.
After that, we're going to start creating purpose statements, and then we're going to do another selection. Right? We don't have to catch it all in the first pass. Okay? But if it did have a strong impact on somebody, it's worth taking another look at. Is the answer.
תגלול את תחילת הרשימה שוב. בבקשה.
Debbie?
I'd like to replace or put it also the Shekhinah near the, it's written there, godness, divine.
Make you uncomfortable?
No, divine is okay, but the interpretation in Hebrew can be Kedusha, Shekhinah, Elohut. So I suggest that we put all the verbs and then we can decide.
דברים אחרים, אבל אפשר, אין בעיה.
So I'm having a little trouble understanding the suggestion.
Nirit and I suggested to use the word Shekhinah.
Which is the feminist point of view of God.
Okay, that's fine. So put 2 versions of it, one the way it is and one with the modification.
No, I mean the strict translation will be divine presence. Rather than divine presence.
בסדר ככה?
Tim, I would feel more comfortable to stay with only 3 words. The source of light and love. Because when we try to add more stuff, we're losing something.
We'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, good. Anyone else want to nominate something to get promoted to the short list? Yes. Tommy.
Somebody said in 20, Tikkun Olam.
Tikkun Olam, great. Bring it
Tikkun
down.
Olam because in all the other stages is speaking only about this.
Now, is Tikkun Olam an activity, fixing the world?
Yes.
Yes,
But it can also be a state.
I think
It's more a mission.
it's a mission.
Or a doing.
It sounds to me like
Or
a
a
mission.
blessing.
I may be missing something.
Maybe it's not supposed to be here, it's
Good.
supposed to be there.
Put Tikkun Olam down in mission.
Yes.
We have it
לא
as well.
נכון.
Am I wrong?
It can be essence.
I think so. I think of it as an essence.
Good, let's put it both places.
It's a state of being.
Exactly.
Fixing the world?
Because
No,
you're
it's
translating
world
it.
fixed.
It's not fixing the world. It's almost like
call it
embodying what the fixed world would look like.
Got it. That would be
I
enough.
can give just the context in which I got it.
ולתקן במקום לפרוע ולחיות
אבל
בצד של
נשים את זה
העולם.
כסיכום.
זה אחרת.
So we'll put it both places, because it could be a mission.
Please explain again.
Why said the difference between it's not fixing, but at least I don't think of Tikkun Olam as fixing the world. I think of it as a state of being where you're embodying what that needs to be.
So it's like I am being heaven on
I
earth,
am being.
as opposed to creating heaven on earth, which is an
Already
activity.
happened. I
הקונטקסט
prefer
שקיבלת את המילים האלה.
Creating,
אתה
ליצור.
יכול לתת את הקונטקסט, אני אתן לך את המשפט השלם את זה. לישראל תפקיד חשוב מאוד בעולם שלכם, ישראל היא התיקון של העולם, זהו תפקידה. תפקיד התיקון.
Good. So can you put Tikkun Olam here in the short list for us as
אנחנו
well?
שפני ניסיונות?
Good.
נורא חדש.
Okay, good. Yes?
I suggest that we put Orla in because it seems to be emotionally
I totally agree. As a goy, I'm voting in favor of it, and if it makes people uncomfortable, that's a negative reaction. It makes it that much more likely to be accurate.
Yeah, and one of the messages that is that we should stop apologize. So
For being all agreeing.
start taking responsibility.
Isn't
So-
all ugly already included in the first one, which is source of light and love?
Some people would like to think so, but I'm suggesting that it appeared enough times that it deserves to be on its own line.
Agree.
So, please add it. Good.
I disagree, but I write.
I was worried we were going to have to fire you as the transcriber there. Light to the devil? That's got real potency to it. Now we're talking.
This is the proof. It
All right.
needs to be on the list.
Okay, good. Good. Any other nominations? Yes?
I would like to nominate number 6.
Number 6, please. You would copy number 6 down to the short list.
כולם במתח.
Sorry, actually it wasn't number 6. החיבור למציאות. היה חיבור למציאות, נכון?
חיבור למציאות.
Good. Just the words she said is fine. You don't need to find it.
כן, זה היה באמצע 6.
חיבור למציאות, נכון, באמצע 6.
Okay. Good.
Can you nominate your own stuff?
You can. You know, if you feel really strongly about it.
The flowering, like something.
הנה, היא עשתה את זה בשביל...
Don't have to.
היא עשתה את זה בשביל...
יוסף, מה זה אורות לגויים?
ברצינות, תסתכלי, אפילו לא מודעת לזה, היא אמרה את זה אחריי.
I think you're getting some critique on your spelling.
You know, I have the feeling I knew a big guy who only said that.
Hold on a sec, one conversation. Yes?
I knew a very big guy, I love him, Moshe Feldenkrais, and he say more, it's less. And I feel here, it's become less and less. That's my feeling.
More is less.
That's my feeling.
I understand. We're fine. We're fine. So we have the flowering thing. Where is that?
Great flowering light.
Great flowering.
אבל זה הולך ביחד עם הילדה הקטנה הזאת, אני יודעת שזה אפשר לעשות את זה יד,
יש בזה משהו שאנחנו כן אמרו בדיוק.
Okay. Any last nominations before we move on to round 2? Okay.
Number 7.
Number 7? Okay, we got part of 7. Did you want the whole thing? You want the whole thing? Okay. All right, all of number 7.
Can you say that another way? Can you say that 2 or 3 words that who said number 7?
So don't replace the one that we already have.
He did.
So you'll see, we have one that was just part of 7.
Yes, no, I delete the part and I
No, it was part of 6. It was part of 6.
It was part of 6, never mind.
Not
Yeah,
7.
it wasn't part of 7, Yossi, so we need that back.
זה היה חיבור למציאות. והוא ב6.
אפשר להוריד כעורך
הוא עורך מתאר. היית עושה אפ.
תהליך
אפ שכולנו נכנסים. עובדים בזה. גוגל דוקס.
Okay, while we're getting that one down, we now have our short list. Let me explain how that's going to work. So what happens now is we have to take these few sentences that made it to the second cut and construct them into purpose statements. And the purpose statement would go one of two ways. An essence-based purpose statement about Israel would either start with Israel is, and then the rest of the sentence, or, as we said before, it's okay to radiate or illuminate because I don't have to move to do it. So I could say Israel radiates, or Israel shines, or something like that. But the sentence is going to start one of those two ways. Okay?
Israel's essence.
Yes, for essence. That's right.
Because we talked about essence.
That's right. This is all just essence. So what's going to happen is when we have the short list down here at the bottom, did we get that portion that got deleted? Did we get it back?
Yes.
We did? Okay, good.
Just a minute, I will
Good. So, what you can do is take one of these and create a sentence that says Israel is blah, 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 or Israel shines, blah, 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 or Israel radiates, blah, 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 like that. And we should be able to, and focus on the ones that seem to have the most impact to you. And we should get a couple of sentences that really have the potential to have very high potency, right? And as some people were saying, some of this stuff seems to really show up many times and have a lot of power. Some of it less so. Yes?
And sorry, because maybe I'm late, but for me the sentence Israel is the shaman of the priest of the world was very strong, emotional strong.
Okay, good. Let's get that one down here too.
It is not a
mission,
it is something inside. איך הייתי עכשיו, אמרתי שאני עובדת לאט.
Good. So there's that statement about Israel being the priest of the world. Can we copy that down, please? It's at the top, I think.
Yeah.
ממלכת כהנים אומרים בעברית. ממלכת כהנים בעברית פשוטה.
פשוטה.
Good. So would anyone like to propose a sentence based on one of these? That might be a purpose statement. Israel is or Israel radiates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Israel is source of divine light and love, radiating healing or repair and light to all existence or to the world.
Okay. It might be better off in Hebrew.
You'll see, write it in English and I'll translate it. Israel is source of divine light and life.
Light and love, you said before.
אתה מסתדר? Israel is source of divine light and life, love, whatever it is,
Light
and love, radiating.
Yeah. Good. And we need a divine before light.
I listen to one who is talking.
Israel is source of divine light and love.
Divine.
Divine. לא במקום. לא במקום. למה היא לא כותב? כי אני לא יודע.
לא, אז תגיד. Israel is
source of divine.
There we go.
Comma. See the stop. No, no.
Great.
Radiating, healing, light, and peace, to all.
Radiating, סליחה.
And healing.
Healing, light. Put in parentheses and peace, because I'm not convinced about it, but that's a way of synthesizing
מה
these.
לכתוב?
Divine and peace. ככה אפשר לדון בזה אחר כך.
אני גם רוצה לומר.
Peace to all, ואז תכתוב all reality, all common to humanity. בתוך שתי אפשרויות.
מישהו יודע איך אומרים תיקון עולם באנגלית?
זה ההילינג, זה תיקון עולם.
לא, המושג הזה?
זה בדיוק שזה הילינג.
It's becoming it's becoming blessing. With the ready, the first part, source of divine.
It's too long, I won't survive. Good. I'm not going to get repaired with Compile. Shall I get repaired with Compile?
Okay, so just a tip for success. This is something Yossi said earlier, which is less and more. If you try to include everything, it'll tend to reduce the impact. But let's hear another candidate.
Can I make edits or?
So we're not going to edit this one. What you can do is suggest a different one.
So I suggest a different one, and the difference would be based mainly because I think it's more God is the source of divine light and love, and Israel is more the Mamlechet Kohanim that represents God that shines that. So I would like to try Israel היא ממלכת הכהנים של האלוקות של העולם. No, that's my point. That's what we should. זה התפקיד שלנו בעולם.
Hang on, so we're not debating. He's suggesting a sentence.
My suggestion is ישראל היא ממלכת הכהנים של האלוקות להארת האור העבר.
אז תגיד לי עוד פעם, Israel is...
So he's giving it in Hebrew, so it might be better to type it.
בעברית.
אוקיי, אני שומע.
ישראל היא ממלכת הכהנים של האלוקות להארת אור העבר התיקון.
אלוקות
להארת אהבה אור. זהו.
אפשר עכשיו?
Sure, another candidate?
ישראל מהותה הפצת אור ואהבה בעולם. ישראל מהותה
מהות ישראל.
Distribute is it's again
ישראל מהותה או מהות ישראל הפצת אור ואהבה בעולם.
light and love in the world. Distribute light and love in the world.
עכשיו. ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
זהו מאוד דומה בכיוון הזה. ישראל היא מקור.
Israel is the essence of light and
מקור,
love.
תפרד את המקור.
רק נחזור להתחלה של המשפט, ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה.
Israel is the source.
כן, גם לי יותר נשמע צינור.
Light and love.
אני אגב
For
לקחתי
תיקון.
לזה גם וגם, חשבתי שלא יאהבו אותי פה.
It's getting closer.
Yes, sir.
ישראל, מרכז האור, האהבה והשלום העולמי. מרכז.
So it's almost the same.
Great. I'm going to suggest one. Israel is the source of divine light and love. You can just copy it from the first one.
But maybe Israel is a divine source of light. Because Israel is not the source.
So we're not critiquing them. You can create an alternative of your own. And it would be the source of divine light and love. My suggestion.
Remember all the
Beautiful.
debates. A source, the source.
Yeah, we can have that debate in a minute. You'll help. Good. Any other candidates? Yes?
ישראל היא ילדה קטנה.
זה נשמע פדופיליה.
תחבר את זה עם פוליטיקאים.
שישראל אומרת לא.
בוא ניתן לפוליטיקאים לטפל בה.
ישראל היא ילדה הקטנה של הפוליטיקאים החרדים.
Israel is the little girl of conservative politicians.
It's a reference on current news. Israel is the little girl of religious politicians.
Okay.
יוסי, אתה רוצה לכתוב משהו?
לא.
מה אמרת? ישראל היא ילדה.
או הילדה הקטנה של העולם.
יוסי, יש לי דעות משלו, הוא שולט במקרה.
כשישראל אומרת לא.
Great. We had another one over here somewhere. Yes, ma'am?
I prefer Israel is a divine source of light and love.
A instead of the? The change was A instead of the?
No,
No,
divine
I
source
changed
instead
divine
of source of
source.
divine.
Oh, a divine source of light and love. Got it. So it's a modification now.
Of Israel.
Is a divine.
לא, לא, רק זה ירד.
Is a divine.
אין ילדה קטנה כבר.
אלוהים דפקתם.
אין מקום לילדות קטנות.
Source of light.
מילה כל כך אמירה, ילדה קטנה הפכה להיות משהו כל כך קשה. וואו.
צבע אדום.
אופליים?
איזה טרנספורמציה.
And love.
אוהב.
Good. And we need an is in there after Israel.
Is Israel. Israel is. Israel is. Israel is.
Beautiful. Any last nominations before we work on this round? Great. So now what you need to do, let's see if we can get all of the ones. Do we have all of them on the screen, or are there ones below?
You have everything.
We have everything? Great. Whoops.
Do you need translation for the ones
No, hold on. So we don't need the fragments up there, just the ones that are whole sentences starting with Israel is. We don't need those.
לא, אבל אל תמחקו, כי אנחנו רוצים את הכל.
There we go.
קבלו את הכל. קבלו את הכל.
There we go. Okay, good. So what I need you to do is to read all of these to yourselves. Now it helps a little bit if you read it aloud. You don't have to read it loudly, but you just sort of mumble it to yourself and make your mouth make the sounds. It helps because your body will then have a reaction to the statement. What we're looking for is the statement or statements that generate the most reaction. Okay? So just read through all these first.
Just a minute. I try to bring the little...
We have some music.
See if we can get some really strong reaction.
Those sentences are the essence now.
גדלה להיות דיוויין.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I need someone to read the sentence out loud, then I just want a show of hands of how many people are having a strong reaction to that sentence, okay?
Bad or good reaction?
Could be positive, could be negative, don't care. So in this process, indifference, like if you read it, like if I say this is a chair, I'm not going to have much reaction from saying that. Something you really dislike, that's actually a strong reaction and it's important. Okay? Good. So who's willing to read? Thank you.
I'm going to make an edit on this based on some of the comments that were there before. משהו בדיוק. זה גם מה שנכנסנו קודם. ככה שלא ידעו.
זה טוב מול פוליטיקאים ככה.
So we don't have to worry about the wordsmithing exactly just yet, because we're going to focus in on the one or two that get strong reactions and work on those, otherwise it'll take us all day.
It's the energy more than...
Yeah, we're looking for the energy. Great, thank you. Maya, if you would please read the first one.
Yes.
So, is that the source? Let's do the source. Gentlemen, we need the debate to end so we can continue. Thank you. So do we need a, so this was yours, Alon, is that a the or an a on the source?
Israel is a or the?
A source or the source? It was your
We need
sentence.
that for the next round.
Great, no problem.
Okay,
Just read it as it is.
Okay.
Israel is a or the source of divine light and love, radiating repair or healing, light or peace to all humanity or reality. We can then finesse it later. But
Great, beautiful. So he just read it. Please raise your hand if you have a strong reaction to that sentence.
Can you read it slowly?
So you got
Sure. Actually, Maya's volunteered to be our reader. So Maya, go for it.
Israel is source of divine light and love, radiating
So we need to stop jumping around if we're in there.
I try to put all of them on the same.
Okay.
And sometimes it's easier.
Israel is source of divine light and love, radiating repair, light and peace to all humanity reality.
Beautiful. If you have a strong, positive or negative physical or emotional reaction to that sentence, please raise your hand. Great. Good. Put a 2 after that.
3.
3? Thank you. Can't count. Math 3 from MIT wasted. So
We have to pick one? We pick just one? Or,
No.
and, okay.
Anything.
Anyone that you react to. Good. If you would read the next one, please, Maya.
ישראל היא ממלכת הכהנים של האלוקות להארת אהבה אור.
Raise your hand if you had a strong, positive or negative physical or emotional reaction to that sentence.
Negative.
Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Next one.
מהות ישראל, הפצת אור ואהבה בעולם.
7, I think.
Yes, program.
8. Thank you. Good.
ישראל היא מקור, צינור, מרכז, האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, excuse me. Okay. So it looks like there was a choice in that
There's
one.
more down
Oh, there's more.
there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
No,
Big gap there. All right. Let's do the.
Okay. Israel is the source of divine light and love.
Strong reactions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
Israel is a divine source of light and love.
I like this.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good.
ישראל היא הילדה הקטנה.
Everybody raise their hand.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Okay, we have a runaway winner by almost 2 to 1, which is the one that got 13. So let's go back and look at that one.
Oh, מרכז, צינור.
Good. Now we got a choice there. Looks like there's some variations we can play with. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I try another one?
Sure.
ישראל היא דוגמה לאנושות.
Reactions?
אוי ואבוי לאנושות.
That wasn't part of the original list.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
So 2 on that one. Not sure. Yeah.
It's more of a reflection or a general remark. I'm asking myself if it's not, would be not. It's a statement, but it should not be more humble by saying shall be, because here we state. I have a problem with all the kind of sentences here. Like,
yeah, let me say
it's a claim that is
good.
The lack of humbleness.
A really good purpose statement sounds arrogant. And the trusted sources love it that way, and it's very uncomfortable for our egos to handle. And that's one of the sources, a very strong source of negative reactions with many purpose statements. It's actually a sign of accuracy, is people feeling uncomfortable that it seems bombastic or too much or arrogant or something like that. That's actually a sure sign of accuracy when that happens.
That's a bit comforting.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
It's even worse when you're doing it on yourself. And I remember Tim saying to me, I mean, I said something and I said, that.
Oh good, okay, she's throwing up. I'm writing that one down.
That's the one.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't feel it. No,
Good.
I don't feel emotion.
Okay.
It's like there's a struggle.
Yeah.
When they say, well, it should be that, but it doesn't stir any...
Great, then don't vote. If you're not feeling emotion, don't vote.
Even the little girl?
Oh, that's the only one that makes something.
Yeah.
Emotionally, not logically.
Same for me. How many for Israel is an example for humanity? מי בעד ישראל דוגמה לאנושות?
Yeah, there were only a couple on that one.
I think it's the gap between the current state of affairs and the potential.
Yeah. So a really good purpose statement should seem almost unachievable. Right? Because if it's something that we could do tomorrow or we can foresee doing, it actually isn't our highest potential, if that makes sense. So a really good definition of purpose that came from a very technical client of mine was the path of maximum impact. Right? So what's the way that you could make the greatest possible difference in the world? And articulating that feels really uncomfortable because it stimulates the awareness of the vast difference between what's currently true and what the purpose is asking of us.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, that doesn't happen if it's not your purpose. And I'll give you an example. Okay? So I want you to say, my purpose is to be a world-class concert violinist. Please say that.
My purpose is to be a world-class concert violinist.
Great. How uncomfortable did that make you? No?
No.
It's really hard. That didn't make you uncomfortable at all?
She's already.
So what happens is if it has nothing to do with you, it doesn't make you uncomfortable, even if it seems impossible. It's only if it is your purpose and seems impossible that it makes you uncomfortable.
But you have to feel comfortable with your purpose. You have to
Really?
make I think so.
It's not my experience.
In order for you, shouldn't it be that in order for you to say something that the other person would believe in what you are saying, you have to feel comfortable with it?
Not my experience at all.
Otherwise, I can't believe the person because I see that he doesn't feel comfortable with it, and I don't believe that it's his real purpose.
I understand what you're saying, and you're getting. If we're talking about how other people react to it, that's a different question than whether it's true for me or not, and that gets into a different realm, which is.
But I have to relay the message to someone.
Sure.
And I have to relate so someone will convince that whatever I'm saying, I truly and really believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I really truly believe in it, I have to feel comfortable with it.
That may be true for you. It's not my experience at all that I feel really, really comfortable with things that I truly believe. But that may be true for you. And I've worked with thousands of people on their purpose, and inerringly, over and over and over again, the purpose statements that are less comfortable are more accurate. And we have tests to verify. We don't have to take it on faith either. But you're absolutely welcome to stick to your guns on that. No problem.
I mean, whatever I heard here with all the statements, I didn't feel any statement that I would, would gladly say it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and believe in it, and would like to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
why?
Because it seems like words that are flying in the air, and nothing touches my grounds.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Thank you.
Was there something, and when you received the purpose, whatever it was of those first 25, it did touch your ground?
No.
Also, so you received it, but it didn't touch you?
It didn't touch me.
Right. And I can understand why that for someone who's very practical, which you may be, I don't know you that well, but someone who's very practical, this level, especially at the initial stages, seems so abstract and so theoretical and so spiritual that it's hard to imagine how it would turn into something real and realistic that would actually happen. I know how to do that, but that's not the process at this stage to figure out what it would look like as a manifest activity. But it has to turn into a manifest activity or our time is wasted.
So how?
Let's not do that right now because we're right in the middle of this. It would be a great thing to do towards the end of the day. You okay with that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am?
I want to... the question of your question of humility brings me to make something as a sentence in the correction is a sentence. Israel is a source of divine light to serve the world, and I think that the word servant.
Good.
It's not a mission. It's also something of the essence of Israel.
Great. So just try it again. Just say the sentence, and let's see how folks react.
לא למעלה.
למעלה
blessing
יש...
to serve.
לא.
Tim.
את זה הוא רוצה.
To serve.
לא, לא,
blessing.
למעלה.
לא משנה, נכתוב את זה ואחר כך.
איזה
אוקיי.
אוקיי, אז
אז
תגידי.
ישראל is a source of divine light to serve humankind with the world. I don't know what is the best English.
Either one's fine.
Yes.
To the well-being of well-being.
Israel is the source.
Of divine light to serve humankind, the world, or humankind.
Which do you prefer?
The world.
Great. Serve the
You
world.
can serve also the earth, not only the earth.
So to serve
Serve the world.
Good. Who had a strong reaction to that sentence? Raise your hand.
Positive or negative?
Huh? Positive or negative, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. And we need ink. Good. So, just at a practical level, looking at the degree of reaction, it looks like working on variations of the one that got 13 strong reactions is probably the way to go. Can someone tell me what that means so I can participate in?
Israel is the source, a channel or a pipe or center for the light, the love, for tikkun olam, for repairing the world.
Okay, good. So we have, the choices are in the slashes?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 3 different versions?
Source, pipe, center.
Okay, good. So, Maya, would you read all 3 as 3 completely separate and distinct sentences? And I want you to notice which one you have the strongest reaction to. Okay?
ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם. Do them all?
Do them all.
Okay. ישראל היא צינור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מרכז האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Great. If you have the strongest reaction to version 1, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. If you have the strongest reaction to version 2, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you have the strongest reaction to version 3, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I got an almost perfect 3-way tie.
Can I suggest
Yeah.
version 4?
Okay.
במקום צינור ערוץ.
Channel.
Okay. So read it that way, please, if you would, man.
ישראל היא ערוץ האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Good. If that was stronger than the other 3, raise your hand.
אני מזבזב, לערוץ אחר.
Okay. 3, 4. Okay. Is it possible to combine some of these, or is it going to make it too clunky?
יש, I will say it in Hebrew because it's very,
Yeah.
the words are important.
Yeah.
במילה צינור יש נוצר, וכאילו אי אפשר לקחת את זה מזה. כאילו הערוץ זה כאילו מילה, לגמרי כבר לא מביאה את האנרגיה הזאת.
עבורך.
כן, זה מה שאני...
There is a distinction.
Maybe in English, Israel serves as a channel. Maybe in English, Israel serves as a
צינור
channel.
ונוצר ורצון זה אותם אותיות.
Source and center means that it's alone.
Yep.
A channel
Okay, center means the
takes its
periphery.
energy from
סנטר
somewhere.
זה יכול להגיד הרבה דברים.
סנטר זה יש פריפריה למרכז. מרכז לא עומד בלי שיש משהו בסביבו.
והמרכז הוא גם מוחשי וגם מגיע, זאת אומרת, זה לא מקור, לא מתייחסים לו למעלה, אבל זה לא צינור לאוויר.
זה גם חוזר לארץ ישראל בתור מרכז
זה מרכז. בדיוק, גם מרכז ומשם מפיץ.
Being the source or being just the root of the channel.
Good. So here's the tricky part. So the tendency will be to want to argue for the one that makes the most sense to you. And the better way to think about this is, how do I find a version of this that gets a stronger reaction from the group? How do I get one that gets more people on board?
Let me suggest, I'm missing the divine, which was important in many of the other versions.
Great.
And therefore, if we'll see which of these wordings can take divine.
Great.
Makor Elohi works. Tzinor Elohi works less well. Kaz Elohi also works less well. If we wanted to include divine, then Makor would actually be the one that works best.
Okay, you want to try that one,
מקור להפצת, ואז זה מקור
לא,
להפצת.
האלוהים צריך לבוא אחרי האור.
Okay, so hold on, we're going to hear one now.
אני יכולה להציע עוד אחד? פשוט כשאתה דיברת על ממלכת. אפשר ממלכת האור? זה יותר
Okay, so let me say that let me suggest what doesn't work in this process is continual debate over individual words. What happens is it will engage your mind and you'll start trying to argue and think about this word will be better than that word, and then it breaks up into lots of different discussions. What works is to have a sentence read out loud and notice how you react to it. An entire sentence, not a debate about this word versus that word. Okay? So try it with the divine that Alon suggested. If you want.
With which one of the three words?
Which?
I think Makor is most appropriate, but I'm just raising that. I'd like to see the word in there. I think it sits best with Makor, but Sikal said.
Let's try it and see.
Corrected, it should sit after Or ve'ahava Elohi rather than after Makor. So even where to inject the word divine has multiple options.
I'll try it.
Great.
ישראל היא מקור האור האלוהי והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Good. So
or ישראל היא מקור אלוהי.
המקור האלוהי.
Okay, try that.
המקור האלוהי לאור ואהבה.
ישראל היא המקור האלוהי
לאור
ואהבה לתיקון עולם.
Great. So between those two, which one do you have a stronger reaction to? Let's hear them both again.
To say both of them, ישראל היא מקור האור האלוהי והאהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מקור אלוהי סליחה, מה אמרנו?
מקור אלוהי.
ישראל היא מקור אלוהי
תגידי להפצת אור
ואהבה לתיקון עולם.
Okay, good. Hang on. So first one or second one? Raise your hand if you prefer the first one, stronger reaction to the first one. Raise your hand if you got a stronger reaction to the second one. Okay, good. Now, was that reaction stronger than it was to the previous versions?
Yes.
No. So
I like Chanel better.
So I want to question the addition of
Divine?
Of divine or Ken Elohi into the sentence.
Okay, good.
So I think if you want to maybe test the two versions with and without that
good.
addition.
Okay.
For God,
once we put in divine Elohi, we choose if we the end goal is to make everybody in Israel to believe in this sentence. Once you put divine,
I wouldn't.
If someone is a secular, divine sounds bad for him.
I strongly recommend
the religious members of Knesset to buy into this.
So hang on. So I strongly recommend worrying about how people outside of this room will react to the sentence. It's actually not a useful activity. That's a marketing question, and that will engage the part of you that will imagine how other people will think or feel about something.
That's my feeling.
I understand. Now, if you don't have a reaction to it, that's fine. If you have a strong negative reaction to it, please raise your hand. Okay? Good. So let's test it with and without the divine, and we're looking for which has a stronger reaction.
ישראל היא מקור האור האלוהי והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
No.
לא? ישראל היא מקור אלוהי להפצת אור ואהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מקור אלוהי להפצת אור ואהבה לתיקון עולם.
Okay. Now, was that with and without the divine? It sounded like the divine.
That was with Elohim.
With and with.
ישראל היא מקור להפצת אור ואהבה בעולם.
Okay. So we need to test it with and without the divine.
Right.
Okay?
Just make sure I've got this right. ישראל היא מקור אלוהי
להפצת אור ואהבה לתיקון עולם. אולי רק לעולם בלי תיקון עולם.
And the second one is...
פתאום הפכנו מאסנס של אור.
תיקון עולם זה אומר שיש משהו שהתקלקל ואנחנו מתקנים אותו, זה מסר חיובי, אבל לעולם זה
אבל למה השכל עכשיו רק...
זה לא השכל, איזה אינטואיטיבי עובדת המחר, אני מנסה להסביר את זה אצלנו.
אם את רוצה שיהיה זה יהיה,
אני לא רוצה שיהיה זה...
זה מצוין, זה מה שצריך.
How are we doing?
That's fine.
Okay, good. All right.
The two options.
These are the two options. If you would read them again, please, Maya. Please notice your reactions when you hear them.
ישראל היא מקור אלוהי להפצת אור ואהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Good. Strong reactions to both. One ultra positive, one ultra negative.
Good. Okay. If you had a.
But you can't. Then they're going to be voting in effect for both, which is.
Sure, that's fine. If you had a strong reaction to the first one, please raise your hand, positive or negative. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Even if it's negative?
Even if it's negative.
Especially
8,
if it's negative.
9. Okay, good. If you had a strong reaction to the second one, please raise your hand. Okay, the second one got more reactions, it looked like to me, by my count. Okay, good. So this would say, unless someone can come up with a sentence that gets stronger reactions from the group, that for our work today, this is the essence of Israel.
סמן אותו כ-13 הנבחר. לא זה. פרפקט, פרפקט. תשאיר אותו עם
It doesn't make sense to me that negative and positive reactions have the same valence.
Yeah.
If anything,
You're
negative
emotional about
reactions
it.
are worth more. Good. So let me, yeah, what's that?
At the risk of you throwing rocks at us, we want to ask one last question.
Sure.
Yes. תהיה דוברת, אני שאל.
רצינו לשאול את ההבדל בין ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם, או ישראל היא מרכז האור והאהבה.
אין הבדל, תראה, כי זה אותו דבר. סתם מתווכחים.
לא, הנקודה היא שמקור זה סורס.
אני צודקת, המקור בא כי ניסיתי להכניס את אלוהים. בלי אלוהים, מרכז יותר טוב. אני מסכים איתך גם.
אני גם
אני מסכים, אם כבר אז מרכז.
מרכז.
Did you get your answer?
Yeah, we need to make the change and vote again.
Okay, great. And then we're going to take a break.
אז תעשי את זה מול השני, את זה מול מרכז, בדיוק. קופי, פייסט. מרכז
Make
האור.
sure it's the same people voting all the time. People are in.
One for and one against.
Yeah, but it doesn't get. There's always more people around for the wrong answer.
Depending on your point of view. All right, who would like to read? Maya, you still reading?
I am reading.
Okay.
ישראל היא
Quiet,
מקור...
please.
ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מרכז האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Great. Stronger reaction to first one, raise your hand.
איפה אלוהים הוא בא?
איפה אלוהים?
2, 3.
זה ירד.
It's okay.
לא, צריך עכשיו לבחור בין שני אלה, ואז להשוות לקודם, שזה יהיה בחירה אמיתית.
די כבר בחרו.
Wait. So I thought
We've got to now compare that to the divine.
נכון, צריך בין מה שמעל הצום.
אלוהי ירד, אין מה לעשות, הוא ירד.
במתמטיקה.
לא לנסות להחזיר אותו בדרך.
Alon,
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to do a runoff between these two. Can you let me finish and then we can test that against something else?
יוסי, אתה שולט.
Okay. So, do we have 3 candidates now?
No.
Everyone get another one, so let's do it quick.
Okay, good. All right, so please read all 3 and notice which one you have the strongest reaction to, positive or negative.
ישראל היא מקור אלוהי להפצת אור ואהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מקור האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם. ישראל היא מרכז האור והאהבה לתיקון עולם.
Okay, strongest reaction to number 1. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Strongest reaction to number 2. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strongest reaction to number 3. Raise your hand. That looks like our winner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, blah, blah, blah. Number 3 is the winner. Congratulations. Okay.
Break.
Break. See you at 3:05. I have to herd cats. I must be patient. I have to herd cats. I need a lot of patience.
the first sentence through all the other. You understand what I do? So I have to start with the sentence. I have to find out what is the priority. Okay, so I'm reading the first sentence and I say, if Israel is the first and the second, I'm reading it.
Which would I okay.
It's excellent thing. It's really purifying. I'm doing it in the exercise of passion to find the passionate, what people are passionate about, and it's really great too.
What do you think?
Did you hear me? Can I say it in Hebrew? Okay.
את שואלת את עצמך מה יקרה אם לא יהיה את זה?
כן, אני לוקחת את המשפט הראשון ואני קוראת אותו בקוראים. ישראל נאמר, אז אני קוראת השני. אם זה קורה וזה לא יקרה, מה אני מעדיפה? אז אני מסמנת, אז אני קוראת את השלישית. אם זה קורה, עכשיו שנכנסתי וזה לא קורה, עד שאני גומרת את כל המשפטים, עד שכאילו, ואז אני הולכת לשאר המשפטים ובודקת את זה. כן, זה ממש ממנה. ואני משתמשת בזה עכשיו לכל כך הרבה דברים. It's really...
Jen Tedman uses
Yeah,
the passion test. So if she compare one to another until that's fine.
And it really helps.
I like the framing of this. Yeah. If one of these didn't happen, which one would you let go of? Because it takes it out of whether it's possible or not.
Yes.
And it's not, you know, like we're doing now, who likes it, who doesn't like it, or emotional about it. It's helpful.
Yeah. And another thing that would help me here, and I'm sure I'm not the only person, but I don't care, even if I'm, that we're a little small group, like 10 people, because we can't get into all, I know.
Often what happens is with these kind of groups, the group doesn't get this far in the day. And so what happens is a subset of it comes back to work on the information another time, and then it's a smaller group. But
it's pretty good for 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
pretty good.
And the action item I have in my mind all the time, and I got it in the meditation, that each of us, if we will do kind of this process, even not in a full day, with 10 other people. You know, each of us with 10 other people. We are like 30 people, I don't know, 20 something. Yeah, it's like the...
This is what he was sharing.
Yeah.
He's doing it with his group. And
I can do it with my group,
Sure.
and I have so many groups.
You sure do.
There are many.
I have
It would not be
religious,
difficult for you
no,
to
I
do
have
that.
religious, secular, I have Druze, you know, Arab, yeah, not Arab, but Druze, that they call themselves Zionists now.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm working with them in hospitals.
The Jews are very pro-Israel.
What?
For that.
That shot.
From the morning to the evening.
I need to ask you a quick question.
Yep. We had a good job as well.
For an interview in I have the question from the news journalist, and I can write for you. It's 4 or 5 questions. We'll do it at the end of this. Okay?
I
Few
have
minutes.
some place to be at 5:30, so it depends on when we end.
We can finish at time anyway. Maybe I now start to ask you.
You can start.
Yeah.
Really?
Very strong.
Okay. Well, good luck.
We have a meeting next week.
Okay.
Blessings and healing to him. Thank you.
You going? What is your strategy
My love.
for finding meaning in life? But what can I say? I can add, you know, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He explained more, give a little explanation, maybe an example, how it בא לידי ביטוי.
How it is expressed?
Yeah, how it was expressed, or in one of the companies you worked with, and what is the conclusion, the main conclusion you can give for anyone who reads this interview. There are 3 or 4 more questions. First one.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that now.
Okay.
Questions just pisses me off. So.
We will do it later. I need to do it before you leave anyway, because I want it to be a promo to the big event on Tuesday. And the sooner it will be on the web, I have more time.
Okay.
So,
Cool. Thank
Okay.
Yes. Let's go here. All right.
It'll speed up. Group needed to push on the process.
זה יכול לעבור ככה. בסוף זה יצא פוסטרים ליד התקווה. אבל בסדר. קירון יחליט קצת לפני כזה.
Have a fabulous one.
Thank you very much for כן, תהיה חיים.
Central little girl is a little center of the girls.
We didn't get this far with the other group. We had less time, and the group is less experienced. And we were done by now.
So what do you mean? This group was chosen because everyone has a sort of experience of meditation or what it was?
Most of the people in the group have done this process personally.
Okay.
Your husband, for
I know that.
Did you find tea?
No.
What are they? Sugar?
Yeah.
אתם גם מהלכים, אפשר לבדוק אתכם אפשרות לעשות סדנאות?
לא, אבל די נבקר. בוחרים גם את הנושאים וגם מבחינתי מה שהיה פה חשוב זה שיתוף פעולה. מה את עושה?
כמו שאתה אמר, אני עוסקת בכל הנושא של לימוד פנימיות.
כאילו פסיכולוגי?
אני לא פסיכולוגית. אבל אחד הדברים המרכזיים שעשיתי בשנים האחרונות היה שיתוף פעולה עם בעצם התחלנו לגלות ולעבוד עם דמויות וכוחות קולקטיביים, לא הדמויות האישיות או החלקים האישיים, אלא ממש לראות מה אפשר לעשות את עבודה בגילויים מאוד מעניינים יש כשעובדים ברמה הקולקטיבית. ובעצם זה מחקר מאוד מאוד משמעותי בשביל שקרה בשנים האחרונות. ומזה גם פיתחתי כל מיני דברים נוספים שמתבססים גם על העבודה האישית לדמויות, גם על העבודה הקולקטיבית, גם על העבודה שמאנית שאני עושה, וכל מיני תגליות ותובנות שמגיעות מדי פעם. אז זה על הרגל אחד.
שימי את הרגל השנייה, תספרי, למה רגל אחד?
אני אשים את הספר הזה.
לא פה בבקשה.
אוי, טוב שאתה אומר. בסדר.
אנחנו רוצים לשמור על המקום הזה יפה.
כן. כאן זה בסדר?
כן, יותר טוב.
what is
תודה על האירוח.
בכיף, בשמחה. נהנית?
החלפת חולצה?
כן.
שרגל זה מרמז משהו?
לא,
כי אני רואה שמאחור...
נשפך לי קפה, כן.
מאחור כתוב קאג'ה בולשיט, אז חשבתי שאתה... זהו, נגמר.
Great, so you have an international audience, so that makes perfect sense.
Is this something to keep?
Senior?
When you started the conversation, starting out doing what is your purpose, what is and how it feels, but that doesn't feel. And we had a conversation with a lady that said that very small tiny what it is your purpose, even it doesn't feel. What's the difference between those two? And show you made here.
I never said that following your purpose would be comfortable. I said that it creates results, it creates a feeling of flow. Often people get very scared of that.
But how do you distinguish that scaredness and the bad feelings of like not being in your purpose?
So that the feeling here is usually a feeling of resistance. When I'm trying to, yes, when I'm trying to make something happen. Here, usually the feeling is more kind of acceleration, like that the things happen easily, but I may feel frightened or uncomfortable about it. But the particular thing that most feels uncomfortable with people is saying their purpose out loud to somebody else. And
So that's not a sign.
So if I can say my purpose and feel no emotion at all, it's not my purpose.
Inner resistance or outward resistance. That's a very mystical test.
And I've tested this with a lot of people. Notice, I would bet people money on it. I have clients who say, well, how do I know this is my purpose? I say, okay, go out and do it for a week. And then tell me what happens. And they come back and they're like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. Yeah, what I told you. It's really,
It's
very
you're
good.
not then secret or anything. More pure.
I hate to call it being pure, but
No, I mean something more higher, godly, like God, and God is the world.
I don't want to compare myself to people.
That's that.
Not my place.
That's that.
Come on in, let's have a seat and get started again, folks.
Sunday won't be forgotten for a long time. We have a very important and challenging mission. That will be in touch
דיברנו על סתירה לא, זה לא נוגד, אבל זה לא משהו. אני אמרתי, פה אתה שומע, אתה זוכר את ההצגה שלך. לא יהיו את זה. ככה נקודה על זה.
would you have done that again today? There were a lot of סובלנות, you have a lot of patience.
מצד שני, כן יש לי, אז גם או משהו ואהבה עם זוהי תארי בכל דבר. אז לא באמת זה מילה,
אני עוזב שנה, זה שעה טוב. הוא גם כשבוע, הוא עובר לפני איזה הוא מסוכן.
זה לא פה אייפון, זה לא פה. אפילו אייפון.
אני גם שפרבר היה אז לדבר על הנשוא. ואנחנו מתכנן שפרבר הוא היה לבוא לשם. כן. אני רוצה מיסקונספט שזה
למה אתה מתנגד זה גם לקבל את הצלילות?
לא, אני לא הייתי. אז הם צריכים בכדי פיליפים. אני שואל מה הוריד. אני ראיתי שלא לשיטות. אני עזבתי כמה שלוש שנים שם. שכולם בריטניה. לא, תודה רבה.